All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rich. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Talking about physical phishing, USB drops. I'm sure everyone is familiar and seen headlines where they drop USB keys in a parking lot and everyone in the company picks them up and puts them in. That didn't happen with my users, so that kind of made me mad when they were turning them all in. So I had to do something bigger and better, or something alternative. So I'm here to talk about some of those alternatives and some of the schemes that have worked and some that haven't. So Jason was supposed to be here, so I put in a little extra "I love you" to him. So, the essence of the talk, the TLDR, is I'm going to make something nice and shiny that I want you to plug in, and I'm going to Trojanize it. So you don't have to stick around if that's all you want to get out of it. I don't know Python programming, but this looks dangerous, so I don't think I'll ever learn it. And I'm only putting in one meme. I'm not that clever usually, so that's as clever as it gets. So again, we've made USB drops. They didn't quite work in the normal, the mic and the R2D2 and the Yoda USB drops weren't very effective. So you can't tell from the picture, but there's a tape dispenser up there by the Archer picture, and it has a USB hole in the back of it. And I just set that down in the reception area to see if anybody would pick it up. This was before Archer Season 6 came out, and the meme says, do you want Season 6? Because this is how you get Season 6, implying that there was Season 6 on the USB drive that was inside the tape dispenser. No one picked up the tape dispenser, but they did take the cord. So then I put another cord back in there that I had Trojanized with. What you see there below is a few different flash drives. You can find them small enough if you look in the very center. This little one here on the right there, it's not very long, and you can take out what was in there before and put something new in, and the actual cord is the Trojan. You don't have to have it necessarily plugged into a device. The cord won't work, of course, but you can just stick that little guy inside of USB housing, and you've got the same thing in essence. Previous work that inspired that one, I believe Adrian and even Dave Kennedy have talked about these Trojanized mice. They'll embed a little USB hub inside a mouse or a keyboard. There's an actual project out there called The Glitch that is designed for you to specifically do this. And they have hardware diagrams out there. At the end of the talk, there's some links to The Glitch. There's also, like I said, keyboard. However, this keyboard has the USB hub built into it, so you don't even need to solder in a USB hub. And so very simple to Trojanize a keyboard, and who wouldn't like a nice new sexy wireless keyboard, or well, in this case a wired keyboard that you maybe won in the sweepstakes, or just happened to show up on your desk one day. Somebody dropped it off for you. Previous works also in this area, Poison Tap from Sammy K. He took a Raspberry Pi, and I have it quoted as Raspberry Pi Zero, costing $5. It cost $9 to ship. So I don't know why everybody says it's $5, but everywhere I bought it from, and it's very small, it's very sexy. And so very small, very powerful little Raspberry Pi device. And as it says here in all the bullet points, it emulates a Ethernet device over USB. So when you plug it in, your computer automatically trusts it. They did the same thing with the land turtle. Mubix, I believe, did that as well. So as soon as you plug it in, your box actually asks it for a route, and you can have it route all your internet traffic through that little device. It's persistent. It creates a backdoor into your machine, and it is literally very, very small. You would just have to put it in a nice, pretty package that someone would want to plug in. And so further on in the talk, I'll get into the pretty packaging that I've been trying to shove that into. Recently, Hack5 has come out with the Bash Bunny, which I have not gotten my hands on yet, but I've read all the specs on it. It looks like it's going to be mostly the same thing as the Poison Tap, where it emulates USB over Ethernet. Also gives you dedicated shell access, payloads. So not too bad a price. Yeah. So essentially, the Raspberry Pi is also a Linux usually version. So $14.99. You probably easier to use the $99 one actually, if the Rubber Ducky is any indication of how easy it is to use their tools. So some of the slide is in a bit of disarray, but I'm also calling physical phishing phishing, so that's trademarked. So I don't know if somebody's around, but copyright, trademark, phishing. You can add that to your issues. Where'd he go? You forgot that one. Pony Express makes this little power strip down there, and anything you plug into it gets owned. No, that's not how it works. But it does have a you can't see. I wish I had a laser pointer or laser eyes. Maybe that would work. But it has essentially a computer back there by the power switch, and listens for your Wi-Fi, listens for Bluetooth, anything that's coming by, and it's a nice little hack-in-a-box that just about anybody's going to plug in. It's pretty unassuming, a power strip, but it listens for all your network traffic. You can even plug network into it, I believe. But it's a nice little device that the Pony Express people, which Jason Street earlier this morning, he was from them. That's just one of their devices. They have several that are really, really great. Oh, wrong way. So I'm going to talk about one of our most successful fishes, and I have a lot of props. I feel like Carrot Top up here, so you guys are probably actually going to have to come up and check these things out yourself, or maybe after the talk. I'll just move over there. Yeah, sure. Thank you. The others make it explode? All right. Yeah, all right. And don't look at... Okay. All right. So, yes. We created a Doom 4, 5, whatever Doom is now, in September last year was coming out. And so I created these little invitations to a beta that supposedly, the pretext was there's a little envelope package that arrived at the office, and inside of it had letterhead from Bethesda that said your office was selected to participate in this Doom pre-beta, and here are 25 free passes to download the beta. And the lawyers had a conniption over me using all the branding and calling out Doom and making Bethesda letterhead. So we didn't officially use this at the company. But my boss is kind of cool, and he just dropped it off somewhere in a conference room. And so instead of sending it, we unofficially ran this fish. Anyway, someone opened it in the conference room and passed them all out, and we had 28 people out of the 25 download this hardware profiler. So it's 101%, or well, 110%, which is great effort by my team. They give 110%. And yeah, nobody could wait. We're a tech savvy office, so I was pretty sure it was going to work. But anyway, the lawyers did not like it, so we weren't going to send it in the mail and commit mail fraud or whatever else they thought we'd be, whatever toes we'd be stepping on. However, it was a bit.ly address on the back of the card, not really a, because the domain I registered was doorn.tech, because doom.tech was taken, and all the other domains were taken. So DOORN looks just like DOOM in a browser. So watch out if you have IMs in your domains. You might want to register the RN version of it, and I'll probably touch on that some more throughout the talk because it's one of my favorites. So yes, DOORN.tech, it's actually still up. I think it's going to expire this month. So get your hardware profiler now. Girl Scouts of America came out with Girl Scouts cookies last 2 months ago, I guess. So that was going around, so it's a timely time to send out a phish around this. So I actually have a... Is anybody familiar with S3 from Amazon? Oh yeah, here it is. It's not a phishing website. So if you look at the URL, it's girl-scouts.s3.amazonaws.com. This is the actual domain, because S3 is a first-come, first-served basis on the name of the buckets you choose. So if you go out to S3 and you register, if you apply a name to your bucket, and this one is girl-scouts, and fill in the information. Let's do this. Adrian Crenshaw. Oh yeah, at irongeek.com. Is it com or org? Com. You're com today. All right. Anyway, did not work as far as going to another page. It uses get instead of post. So up here in the top, you can see name equals Adrian, email equals Crenshaw. There are other fields that are off the screen, such as phone number, organization, address, postal, city, country, credit card number, month, year, blah, 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 the CCV. This is taking advantage of the pre-population of your form data that Google often likes to do. This is Firefox in this case, but Chrome would have filled this out had I had Adrian Crenshaw's information. The other information would probably all have pre-populated in that form. The other form elements are far to the left, minus 500 pixels or so. And there's I can't remember who I lifted this from. It is from this GitHub here. This guy. And he was nice enough to show everyone in the world that this is a thing. Here's the Doom pre-release. Got an invite and a code. Enter your email address. So I got more email addresses. I got 25 codes. They all entered the same code. However, they were iterative. So they got together, and one person did figure out the next code that it would have been and put it in. And they were able to download just a hardware profiler, well, quote-unquote hardware profiler, that just ran a ping back to us and said, hey, somebody on this machine name installed this. And that's all it did, but it gave a message that it was inconclusive that your network card or your video card was up to snuff. So another S3 bucket. Here is o365.s3-website amazon.com, Amazon AWS.com. So now Microsoft has given up on Azure and just switched to Amazon. which I think that's fair. They know their beat. That's nice of them to give it up. But yeah, this would work just the same. And yeah, as long as you reserve the S3 bucket, you can serve a web page from S3, which is just a data storage on Amazon. And here's Google giving it up to be on Amazon now. So Amazon's rife for abuse, and who doesn't trust Amazon, right? So back to the slides real quick. So the Girl Scouts of America, yeah, that was an entrance to win, Girl Scout cookies for a year. If you want to avoid lawyers and things like that, you probably don't want to brand it Girl Scouts of America. You could say, you know who, and use that green and maybe put a cookie up there or something and kind of hint at it's Girl Scouts of America, but it's not actually Girl Scouts of America. All right, where were we? Yes. So the search you get from Amazon, totally legit. Who doesn't trust Amazon? And I am going to go quick because I know we don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to hopefully have questions at the end for you guys, or I'll answer them. So I have here, again, my Carrot Top. These were $17 on Amazon. It's just an empty shell. You put your cell phone in it, and then you got VR goggles. So if you were to be sent this at your office, maybe you would be interested in seeing what happens with VR goggles. You'd probably put some crappy burner phone in here, and then maybe put in the Poison Tap Raspberry Pi Zero instead of, or if you're smart enough, and I'm not, so that's why I didn't do it, to get your payload into the phone itself. Or maybe you just use that stupid cord I made earlier, and that cord is the only one that makes this work for some reason. Maybe you're to use that, and they install drivers for it, and then you own their machine because they wanted to plug in a $17 headset when they probably shouldn't have done that at work. So that's the gist of most of my fish is trying to figure out what I can cram a Raspberry Pi Zero into, or a flash drive into, and get users to want to install it. I have tons of ideas about that, and we've only done it once, and the USB drops were a failure, but someone wanted to plug in my tape dispenser, or at least the cord from my tape dispenser, which was odd. So yeah, the cell phone could be the payload. More advanced, maybe you send them something that actually works. So maybe you put a little crappy old iPhone 4 you used to have, and you load some VR app on it, and maybe that actually works. But maybe it still needs a driver to install, so you include a little flash drive, or you include a CD. Does anybody have CD-ROMs anymore? No? Flash drive. Or maybe there's a driver they download from DOORN.tech to make the new Doom VR work on it. And then maybe that cell phone has an open Wi-Fi or Bluetooth to to the packaging itself. So this box actually has a lot of open area, and if I was to put foam in the box, or something to conceal another way to exfiltrate data. So if I was to put a cell phone in this box that was communicating to the driver was able to communicate to the cell phone because you installed it on your laptop, and maybe I can talk Bluetooth to you. You can exfil without going through their network. You can have their machine connect to maybe the packaging instead of the actual VR goggles themselves. So with all the ubiquity of all these little devices and how easy it is to program and how everybody is a developer now, the sky's the limit for your imagination. You can do the things that were always depicted in spy movies and the CIA and all the cool who was it, Q and some of those other things. And this is just a link to magnetic enclosures, which are $1.50 to get. They are dirt cheap. They look professional enough that they look professional enough that it sells the fact that someone's getting a gift. And it seems like it's not, illegitimate. It came in a magnetic box. It looks nice and shiny, and so you can print a logo on these little boxes, and they don't cost that much. But it's a very professional package. And they are very cheap, and anybody can put a photo here. You don't have to have them print it. So that's another idea. So some of the ideas I've had, some of the things I've seen on the internet that I love them so much. And if someone sent me one, I am plugging it right in. Would be, I don't know if you've seen 3D scanner. But there's a handheld 3D scanner. You scan objects, and you can have them ready for your 3D printer in no time. Laser tag. Has anybody played laser tag in a while? It's a lot of fun. Somebody sent me a laser tag system, and it needed update drivers or something like that. I'm going to plug it in. Something to spy on my neighbors. Okay, maybe I want to do that. Retro gaming system. Yeah, again, I have more props. I've got a little. Anybody heard of the RetroPie project? So it's Raspberry Pi, but it can play old MAMEs, or it plays MAME ROMs. Your old video games come back to life, and you actually play on a controller that goes to USB to your Raspberry device. So retro gaming system, if you had it all enclosed in one little Nintendo or Genesis, or Sega, PlayStation, whatever might meet their fancy, doing open source intelligence on them. Maybe they're a Sega fan. Maybe they're a Nintendo fan. Maybe they're a Microsoft fan. So you can send them a 360 controller and say, if you plug this into your computer and run the drivers, then you can play all your old games again right from this little controller. It's nice and portable. So you can own their organization, because they'll probably do it at work if you send it to them at work. Again, preview of the long delayed game. Doom was way long delayed, so I wanted to play it. So I came up with that fish. And that was 110% effective. Let's see, other things. Crowdfunded password manager. It's an idea I'm working on. Just a little physical device that manages your passwords, but it doesn't. You'd think it does. I have more. Again, I have a lot of little props, and I don't want to be Carrot Top and just show them everything. But please come by and see me later. I have an RFID wall plate skimmer. It's just like an ATM skimmer, but it fits over the wall plates of the RFIDs we see all around buildings, and can stay powered for about a week. I don't remember what the light bulb was. If anybody's not familiar with this work, it's great. This is also physical penetration testing in the literal sense, where they have a vampire tap, if you're familiar with the term. So this little, tiny little device right here, it's no bigger than whatever coin denomination that is. Very, very small. It gets put in behind the shell. You can see right up here. It gets put in behind the shell of the RFID reader, and it sits physically on the wires and listens to what happens as people card in and card out, and it saves it all inside of itself. And then you walk by with your Bluetooth on your phone, and you download all of them later. And then you make clones of the all the IDs you got. So right here in this video, they're showing you in, I think it takes about 1.5 minutes for him to punch down the wires into these 2 little clips, screw everything back together, and then start getting card data. So he's got it all back together. He puts a card on there, and the door opens, and his phone gets a little page because he's close enough to it that here's a new RFID. So I'm working on something similar, but it's a clamshell that goes over the box, because on these boxes now, they actually have a little LED in the back that once you take it off the back of the wall, it triggers an alarm. I don't know if everybody's configured by default to notice it, but it does trigger an alarm if you take those off. And I've got a bunch of credits here for things that are better than I have. Again, Adrian has done a programmable human input device keyboard dongle, and that was great inspiration for me. There's a lot of stuff at Black Hat, and that's where I got some of the first slides, so I wanted to give credit where credit was due. We do phishing campaigns at work, but mostly it's the email type. We don't feel anybody's equipped to deal with these kind of attacks yet. Not many of them happening other than the USB drops in parking lots. So I wanted to take it to the next level and make this a reality. And so far, we've got sign-off on one project, and other customers are interested. So we're hoping to get other people to think evil, but do positive things with it. So yeah, I guess I'll open up to questions. That's pretty much it. It's not a complex topic, I don't think. Going once, going twice. All right. Well, you guys will please come over and see me.